What's up, guys? It is time to paint the bike. Even though there is nothing on this bike right now. Let's explain. Alright, so we were at my buddy's shop, Adam. He is helping me out with some of this stuff, and we have run into so many problems. As you can see, this bike is pretty disassembled because we're waiting on parts and tools, and things just are not showing up when they're supposed to be. So we're kind of in a timeline crunch, so we went ahead and took the tank off, took the fender off, and we got some other pieces. We need to go ahead and get those things out to paint while we're still working on this. So we got the pieces over here. I still got the front fender at the house because there was no reason to put it on the bike. I need to take this home, strip it down tonight, and get it to my buddy in the morning. So he's going to work on it hopefully on the weekend. We've got a week and a half to get this bike finished, and we are up against it. The bike probably might even be done by the time you see this. But we have a show February 1st. I have no idea when this is going to come out, but we need to get this thing finished. So we're going to see what happens. Hopefully bring you along for the process. But by the end of this video, you are going to see the tins back on the bike in its true color, and it's going to look beautiful. All right, we need to bring more things over to paint because we're installing a fairing. See that box right there? That's one of the pieces we need to install, and we need to get this thing painted. So let's go over to my buddy's house, take this stuff over there, and we'll get a sneak peek at how far along he is with the other painted parts. All right, so we got the fairing and stuff over here. This is what we're looking for. This was like a spray out we did. Should look very close to that. I don't mind showing you because these are all our different colors we're trying to get from that. Fenders, rear fender, gonna get this painted. We're gonna redo this to make sure the new batch paint really does match. We got both our pieces for the fairing. This is just a little inner structure part. We got our tank. He's already removed the badges. We got this pretty much prepped, ready to start sanding today. He's probably going to do a shit ton of sanding and kind of get these things prepped. I know he's going to work a lot on it tomorrow. So hopefully in a few days, we'll get this going. I will show you the dash. He's got that pretty much done. All right, this is the dash. He still has to do a cut and buff, but it looks so much better. The powder coat wasn't bad, but it's going to have a freshly painted tank, and it's going to be so glossy that I started thinking, I was like, you know what? Let's spend the extra time and money. We'll paint this black so it matches, the finishes will match a little bit better. But once he gets that done and everything else, we'll start putting it together. We got about, I don't know, week and a half, almost 2 weeks, days wise, but kind of wanting to get this done by next weekend. We should be able to hit that deadline. We'll see what happens, and we'll take you all along. All right, we're at my buddy's shop. He said some of the pieces for paint are ready. The tank and the fairing, that's what we need first. So we're gonna go pick it up and see it for the first time. All right, so we got the tank, we got the dash, we got the inner piece of the fairing. We got the fairing sitting here. Now that stuff is done. We got the rear fender that he's starting on. We'll get this probably in a day or so. But that stuff over there is what's important. We did have issue with the decal. It did kind of bubble up on us a little bit, so that's going to have to be fixed later. Unfortunately, our timeline is pretty much here, so we're going to have to rock it for a little bit, but I'm going to order another set of decals, and we're going to have to basically scrape that off, try again, try to get looking a little better. Decal just didn't want to do right, so we'll have to do it again. Like I said, this probably could have been fixed, but timeline-wise, we need it back. So what's probably going to happen is the show's going to be next Saturday as I'm filming this, and then we're just going to leave the bike on the trailer. Come Sunday, I'm going to bring the bike right back over here, and we're going to try to get this wrapped up before Daytona. This always happens. We got pushed way behind just with people being sick and parts and all these different things. Paint definitely needed a couple weeks, and I gave them like 4 days. So we're going to get what we get, and we're going to do it better. All right, guys, it's the next day. We have some of our painted parts on. Full disclosure, we've already pretty much put everything together, and I'm going to tell you what we've done and what we're doing. All right, so here we are. We have the tank, dash, and fairing put together. I'll talk about the fairing in its own video, kind of recording, taking it out of the box, putting it together, and putting it on the bike. So we're just going to really talk about painted parts and our journey here. So the tank's on. I told you when we picked up the paint, there's some slight issues, mainly with the graphics. So we're going to go back and do that. We pretty much, I think we figured out what the problem was. He's done graphics before, but he's always waited like a day or so to clear after getting these applied. And he thought everything was out of it. And with the deadline, he did this sooner than he would have liked. There was no wrinkles, no bubbles, no nothing. When he started to clear, everything started to come through. So that's a bummer, but that's all right. We're going to still run it because I really want the bike at the show. Mind you, I don't know if you guys understand, this bike is not getting put into a bike show. I have a small business. I sell clothes, accessories, bar bags, saddle bags, a couple different things that I want this bike to have at my booth. So it's basically a booth bike. It's not a show bike. So I'm not super worried about some of the imperfections. These obviously we're going to fix, but I just want the bike there. And then as soon as we get it back, we're going to get back Saturday night. Sunday, I'm going to keep this thing on the trailer, trail it over to his house, and we're going to get back to working on this and get it good for Daytona. But we did switch over to a black gas cap and a black fuel gauge. We did powder coat this originally, and I just started thinking and looking, and the powder coat finish just is not going to be the same as the paint finish. And being surrounded by all these painted parts, I thought, you know what, let's go back and paint that. And boy, was that a good idea. Now I'm going to break the fourth wall to you, and I'm going to joke that this is a SEMA build because it's not going to be 100% together. And one of those things being is the fuel gauge. Fuel gauge is not going to work. And let me explain why. This is the little teat right there that the wire would come out of, and it would plug into a little plug right there. The wiring is actually coiled up in here, and we're just going to put the gauge there because as soon as we get back, the tank's got to come apart. Well, in order for this to come out, you have to de-pin the connector, pull the wiring out. So I'm not really worried about fuel. I'm not going to have a lot in there because I know I'm going to take this back off. I'm barely going to put enough fuel in there just to ride it and be able to move it. So we're going to SEMA this. Like I said, full disclosure, it is what it is. This is all real stuff here. We're kind of up against the wire. So I know I'm going to take the tank back off. I don't want to bother with de-pinning this and re-pinning it. So there it is. All the wires are just coiled up in here. Here, I'll show you. See, all the wiring is just coiled up in there because why not? This bike, we're just trying to make it at this point, and we will. But like I said, we are just trying to make it. But that's pretty much where we're at. He should be finishing up the rear fender today. We probably won't put that on until Monday. That's going to be a little bit of a tough one too. He's going to come over just because the rear fender is not hard, but getting it put into place without scratching anything can be a little difficult. I've been doing all this by myself. The rear fender is something that's really hard to install by yourself without nicking it. So he's going to come over. We're going to throw that on. Then we just got to do the front fender, side cover, and we're going to be pretty much there. We're not going to end this video until you can see the bike completely put together. We have done a couple other things. I'll show you that. That's kind of appearance related. It's kind of what this is about, is just taking this from, you know, bare bones kind of, and putting it back together. So another thing we're in the process of doing is switching out the master cylinder. Hopefully this thing works. Pretty sure it does. But this was all ate up on the old one. So that's what it looked like. That's what we're going with. I ended up just getting it, I think for 70 bucks. Come with the lever and the clutch cable or the brake line for whatever it was on. It was not on an 08 lowrider, so it was a different cable. We just reused what we have. But we did switch that out, and that's going to look so much better. And also, we took off the last thing that is special for this 08 anniversary edition, and that's the little bronze timing cover. It doesn't say it on there. It just has that bronze color that's all around this bike. And we just put a regular chrome one on. That's where it was supposed to go. We just put a regular chrome one on because this is going to clash with everything else. And I'm starting to kind of dig the chrome gold and purple. I think if maybe we put too much black on it, it would just, you know, black, purple, and gold. It would look like the Lakers or something. I am digging kind of the chrome, so maybe we'll keep it that way. I do appreciate kind of the color breakup that it gives. But yeah, that's currently where we're at. I'm going to try to button up that the braking system in the front today. But other than that, we're just kind of waiting on paint. There is one other bracket that we can mount for the idiot lights. We'll do a whole separate video for that because I think that's something that people are going to be searching for and people want to see. So I'm going to dedicate a whole video for that. I've already had 2 comments in this series asking about that. As soon as people saw I took the stock risers off, they were wanting to know. So we couldn't do that. So we got the tank back because the wiring is up under the dash for that. So we've been having to wait. But this thing's starting to come together. It doesn't matter if it's the exhaust side or the quote-unquote ugly side. This thing's going to look good. All right, guys, we are back from the Greensboro show, and we have the bike on the trailer. We were drastically trying to get things ready, and let me give you an update of where we're at. So the bike is mostly put together. We elected not to put the front fender on because the paint had not cured, so we weren't going to do that. The tank needs to be redone. We're getting ready to take it over to my buddies. We got home from the show last night. It is the next morning, and we're going to strip this thing down. We have, let's see here, rear fender should be good to go. Front tank's got to be redone. The fairing needs to be cut and buffed again. Then once we get it back, we'll put the front fender on. I'm not going to put the front fender on now because that should be good to go, but you don't want to drop stuff on it. This video, I have no idea what the name of it's going to be. We're basically just like going along and figuring out what we're going to do to get this rideable. These are all the small, you know, nut and bolt things and just figuring stuff out to get it there. It was basically just going to be like the original like paint process, but we've got a lot to do and we got to redo some things. So we're going to take you along for the ride because I promised you, you're going to see it complete. All the panels have not been on it yet. So we're going to fix the tank. Before this video is over, you will see this thing complete and I will finally, hopefully, maybe get to ride it. All right, so we got the tank apart, the bike's apart in the other room. I'm getting ready to put the graphics back on and get this thing going. You're good. All right, we got the graphics on both sides. I did drop this sticker. I think a little bit is my fault. It had a little bit of a crease in it, and there's a little imperfection that I don't even think you can see that on camera, but there's a little imperfection there. I dropped that. That's probably my fault, but we're going to make this look way better than the other one did. We're seeing bubbles come up late, and that's probably what issue we had before. So, still working on it. We're going to get this thing looking good. Hopefully, when you see it next, she is going to be polished and looking very well. All right, we are back. You last saw we were laying the graphics. Now everything is done. This thing is painted, cleared. Like I said, everything's cleared and ready to go back on the bike. This thing looks amazing, so much better than last time. So like I said, we could have fixed it, but didn't have time for that first show. But we are going to be good to go for Daytona this year. But we got the trailer. We're here to pick it up. So let's put the bike back together and take it home. All right, we are back home. It is the next day or next evening, and we got the bike loaded up, got it home, but we dropped the bike last night. So we were loaded up on the trailer. We're doing this inside the garage because it's raining, and it is supposed to rain for the next like 4 or 5 days. That's why we wanted to make sure to pick it up last night. But it was still kind of damp out. There was mud, and when we were pushing the bike up that ramp, when I took my second step, I fell. My foot slipped right out from under me and I went straight down to my knee. I was held on to the handlebars pushing. My buddy Brock, who painted it, was pushing from the back, and I kind of dropped the bike on myself. I dropped down to one knee, held the bike. Luckily, didn't hurt the bike at all, thankfully. So yeah, we dropped the bike on me last night, but we didn't damage it. We are going to show you the bike completely put together. This is the first time we've had every hard part on the bike. Let's show it to you. It's not going to look the greatest because it's in the garage. There's a bunch of crap around, but we can't push it out and have it look all nice, mainly because the tank has just been painted and really don't want to get water spots and stuff on it. It really needs to cure for a few more days before you go and having residue and stuff like that on it. But here she is. It's not the greatest look in the world, but you know what? We like it. So rear fender, tank, battery cover, front fender, and the fairing. All of it's together. So doing pretty decent. It looks pretty good. I think the front fender got bent a little bit somehow, some way along the way. After putting it on, I realized that's not 100% straight. I'm pretty sure it was when I took it off. I don't know. We're gonna have to figure that out. But we can. I think it's just one of the brackets were a little bent. I think we can get that pretty much fixed. We'll have to deal with that. But this is the first look of it pretty much put together. So is it the best unveiling? Absolutely not. I didn't put it on the lift because I was kind of hoping there's going to be a break in rain, but it has been raining every minute since I got home from work. So, and it's supposed to rain all through the next day and the day after. So this is pretty much what we're going to have to do. But the tank looks pretty good with almost no like imperfections. There was a little bit of imperfection here in the sticker when we laid it, as far as the sticker seemed kind of ripped. I did drop this sticker, unfortunately, and it kind of creased a little. When I got these stickers last time, they were in a bag, and this time they kind of slipped out. So that's my bad. Is what it is, but way better than it was the first time. We let it sit for a day or two and to get all that water out. So not bad. You can probably stick this graphic with absolutely no water under there and not have to worry about that stuff, but it's harder to get the bubbles out, and then if you need to shift the decal at all, you are screwed. So we did what we did. It looks pretty good. This is finally everything back from paint, and I'm loving it. And it's the seat. I don't know if I've shown the seat in any other video. This is our custom seat from Saddlemen. I think it just pops everything off with a nice kickback, tuck and roll. I think these are very comfortable, way more comfortable than the diamond stitch. We went with the gold outer stitching, got our logo there. That's pretty cool. And we've got the Saddlemen in the same color. And it just complements the rest of the bike, and I think flows so well together. So if you like this bike, hit that like button, comment down below. If you're seeing this for the first time, hopefully you're still this far into the video, but we do have a whole build series on it. We should have it linked up top, possibly down in the description, but I think the bike's pretty badass. Is it done? Absolutely not. There's still a lot of finishing touches we need to do. So subscribe, follow along, but getting the paint and everything together is just awesome. This is what really makes it start to look like a real motorcycle. Having everything kind of together. Yeah, we got a little work to do on that front fender. I don't know what happened there. My guess is some part, maybe I bent it a little bit when I gave it to him. I don't know. But that did not get caught, so we're going to have to deal with that. But other than that, I'm digging it. If you made it this far, hit that like button. Tell me what you think about the paint, the whole scheme, the whole everything. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And as always, keep it wretched.